welcome back to the morning show. I hope you're feeling good, and today I'm continuing the ingredients spotlight with the focus on niacinamide, or vitamin B3 as many of you know it. I'm a bit of a cheerleader for vitamin B3. It's in quite a few of the Flawless products, and with good reason I think, and I hope to convince you of that in the following video. So I'm going to share my top 10 reasons, and there could be more, but 10 seem to be, the limit of people's patience. 10 reasons why niacinamide deserves a coveted place in your morning routine. So why is niacinamide such a useful ingredient for your morning routine? Well, the way I look at it, it's kind of like an all-round crowd pleaser. It's really versatile, so it solves multiple problems, and it suits almost everyone. There's a few people who are sensitive to niacinamide, but it's rare. And it's also an ingredient that in terms of formulating it, it's pretty easy. It partners with most ingredients easily. It doesn't require fancy packaging or special instructions on how to use it. And in truth, you can use it morning and night. That's why, as I say, I've used it in many of my products. So let's get into those 10 reasons, shall we? So reason number 1, it's calming in acne-prone skin by reducing the inflammation provoked by the acne triggering bacteria. Now that makes it a very reassuring ingredient. Even if you're just someone who breaks out around their period, you don't want to be using skincare that might push you towards your breakout threshold and make that tendency worse. I mean, I know I don't. So the presence of niacinamide, and it can be found in pretty much any product now. You can find it in cleansers, moisturizers, sunscreens. It can coexist in a serum alongside other active ingredients. I find it a very reassuring presence, and that is someone who's blemish prone and also redness prone. And I think it has a really excellent balancing effect on the pores, so it can also improve pore appearance as well. The second great thing about niacinamide is it also improves the red marks that follow on from acne blemishes, and it works in a slightly distinct way to something like Azelaic Acid, which is just reducing the amount of excess melanin produced in context of inflammation, whereas niacinamide is reducing the transfer of that melanin that's been made from the pigment cells, the melanocytes, into the skin cells. So the two together are actually really quite powerful when it comes to reducing post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. And let's face it, for many, that's as much of a bother as the acne spots themselves. Now, the next benefit, I think, is a rather wonderful one, because it really does set it apart from all the other active ingredients that we use in this sort of inflammatory acne space, in that niacinamide boosts the production of ceramides in our skin barrier. Now, that is a bit of a, sort of paradigm shift almost, because we're so used to dryness and irritation as being part and parcel of treating acne and blemishes. But there is logic to it in sort of multiple levels. Firstly, whilst we perhaps want sort of the idea of drying a spot out to be kind of the mechanism of how these acne treatments work, in reality, by drying a spot out with allowing irritancy to come about, for example, with the use of benzoyl peroxide, we're actually hindering healing and repair. The dryness is a side effect. It's something to be avoided. Now, it's not surprising then when you find out that acne blemishes themselves are ceramide deficient, that they're already set up to get irritated and sore and crispy and therefore hard to conceal before you even put your benzoyl peroxide on, assuming you're using something like that, or salicylic acid for an individual spot. Well, that's where niacinamide really comes into its own, by having a calming anti-inflammatory effect, and also by boosting surface ceramide production. You're actually strengthening your barrier, reinforcing it, and making your skin more robust and therefore more tolerant of those actives. And I've often found that pre-treating with niacinamide is actually a really good thing to do ahead of introducing more irritating actives like retinoids and things later on in someone with very sensitive skin. So this for me is a real winner of a property. The next reason is great news for pregnant and lactating women. It's perfectly safe for use in both. Reason number 5 is it's well tolerated in sensitive and redness-prone skin. Now, as I said before, there are occasional individuals who can't tolerate it, but in the main, where it is tolerable, it's really helpful because of those barrier boosting properties that can help just make skin more tolerant and then subsequently more accepting of other active ingredients. So it's an ingredient I would tend to introduce early on, once the acute inflammatory phase of rosacea was under control, and we're now looking to evolve the routine really into sort of maintaining skin health, focusing on protection, barrier boosting, and then lessening of the redness, improvement of the texture. And with sensitive skin, I think it's just a worthwhile ingredient to get in early in the beginning if you can. And then I put someone like that onto a go slow program, introducing one active at a time, subsequent to niacinamide. And oftentimes you find that that really helps improve tolerance and just makes for happier skin. Number 6 is the kind of charismatic personality of niacinamide. It plays well with every other active ingredient. We get a lot of questions on our lives, Emma and I, about niacinamide and vitamin C's compatibility. And I think this was based on an old study that isn't relevant to how current formulations operate. So we have no problem in combining niacinamide with vitamin C in its various forms. So please be reassured by this, but also partners well with BHAs, with bakuchiol, with retinoids. I think particularly with retinoids, where sometimes we're anxious about combining other molecules that might disrupt their delicate structure, we can be very happy and comfortable using niacinamide. Number 7 is that it's actually a great anti-aging ingredient. I mean, it seems kind of staggering that it can do all these different things, but essentially it helps to regenerate the energy supplies within skin cells. And this helps our skin defend itself better against environmental aggressors, and also encourages production of collagen, elastin, and hyaluronic acid. But a super gentle ingredient. So I think, considering how well it's tolerated, to get this level of yield is pretty remarkable. Reason number 8, niacinamide may even help reduce oil production, and it certainly does help pores look clearer and smaller. Reason number 9, it's a great ingredient to tackle thin skin parts like around the eyes and on the neck, areas that are often difficult to accept things like retinoids. They can be really challenging to use in these thinner skinned areas where, of course, we want those sorts of benefits. But again, niacinamide, with its anti-aging and barrier boosting effects, seems to be just what these delicate areas need. And I think that can definitely help improve the dusky appearance under the eyes as well. And then the final thing is just to say that the versatility of this ingredient lends itself to being in multiple products. And we find in practice that layering several niacinamide-based products is something that, if your skin likes niacinamide, tends to be well tolerated and actually lead to additional stacking benefits as well. So, niacinamide, lots of reasons to love it, lots of reasons to try it. And I'm going to list some of my favorite niacinamide-based products in the comments box down below. And really look forward to next week. So hope you'll come back and join me for the next episode of The Morning Show. Bye for now.